So, all right, man, we're going to get into it. You ready, Jeremy?
I am. I'm here.
Welcome to another episode of Untitled Car Project. I am one of your hosts. My name is E85, and with me I have...
Jeremy Molt.
And tonight we have a very cool guest. His name is Brent Reno. Brent, how you doing, man?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Us too, bro. And again, thank you for being here. We'll get right into it here. So I want to talk about your car. What is the base for your car? What model is it exactly, if you don't mind?
Yeah, it's the 2013 Chevy Camaro ZL1.
Okay, and I understand this car has a name, right? You're one of those guys?
Yeah, definitely one of those guys. Elvira.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew as soon as I heard that Chevy was going to be building the ZL1, I think it was like sometime in 2011, I read the article that they were going to build the ZL1. I was like, I'm going to get one, and I'm going to name it Elvira.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And I'm going to assume this car's black off the rip?
Yep.
Okay, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So my understanding is it's not stock, and you didn't order it that way. You ordered it something different, right? Option-wise or something?
I ordered it bone stock.
Okay, cool.
So it came with a supercharger, came with the magnetic ride suspension, came with every option I could get. So, and that was my plan was to keep it stock forever and just drive the wheels off of it.
And how long did that last?
Until about 122,000 miles.
Oh, wow.
When I ended up driving from Portland, Oregon down to Fort Knox, Kentucky, and I got the dreaded Chevy lifter tick.
Oof.
So
been there, man.
Yeah.
So you got that at 122,000?
I got the tick, yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
And I'm really religious about changing my oil, as you should know, as my former AMSOIL dealer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I've run either GM oil or AMSOIL since I've run AMSOIL since probably 15,000, 18,000 miles.
So is this car at 8-speed auto then?
No, it's a 6-speed manual.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to make sure you were cool, Brent.
Well, it depends on what circle you're running, I guess.
Yeah, I guess who we ask, right?
So yeah. I had the chance to see this car last Tuesday, and she's gorgeous.
Thank you.
And I think I told you this when you were here, Brent. The paint is immaculate for a 2013. And not only is it immaculate for, a 2013, you've got a fuck ton of miles on this car, right?
Roughly 208,526 or something.
Wow.
Roughly. I love the exact number. Oh, in a
double
quarter.
The average, but that's sick, dude.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, right? Brent and I were talking about this last week. He doesn't like flying. So you've pretty much driven to every corner of the United States, right?
Except the Northeast.
Well, and I won't blame you for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it just that you haven't taken the car there, or you visited there, or is there a reason for that?
Well, I've been to the Northeast, but that's because my job sent me there for a couple of weeks one time.
Okay.
But I just have no real reason to go up there, except to one day see the leaves, I guess, turn color in the autumn.
Sure, have the foliage.
Yeah, I guess that's something people with significant others do.
It is. I've been there, buddy. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's really cool. You drive it this much. I want to talk more about that here in a minute. But so, was it the dreaded lifter tick, or was it a lifter failure that made you modify it further? What's the story behind that?
Yeah, that's the only reason why I did a cam swap and then did a pulley swap as well. I went from the factory pulley I think it's like a 255 inch
Mm-hmm.
down to 235
Wow.
inch.
Oh, yeah.
Possibly. So I got like 5 more PSI.
More boost.
I think we
But
lost
yeah,
him for a second.
I would have gotten a tick. I honestly, the engine would be factory, and I would have just ported the blower and got a smaller pulley and some cooling mods, and that'd be it.
Okay.
Other than my obvious suspension mods
Okay.
that I've done.
And could you just say the mods you've done to the motor one more time? You kind of broke up for 1 second there.
Oh yeah, the currently or what I did back.
What you did initially?
Fuck. Oh, man. Brent, you there? Oh, yeah. We totally lost him. Let me call him back.
What's this connection look like? We gotta ask him.
Look, that's funny.
Hey, you there?
Yeah, we're here, buddy.
Here's now.
All right. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's no big deal.
No.
We can edit some of this out.
Yeah, we can always do some after show magic, or Rob can anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, one more time, just give us the rundown on the first round of modifications you did.
Yeah, and then we'll get into the...
So engine wise, first set of mods I did, they slightly milled the heads. I did a Brian Tooley Motorsports stage 2 blower cam and a smaller pulley. So I went down to a 2.35 inch pulley, upper pulley.
Very cool.
So, and then initially it went to 22 pounds of boost. Is that what you told me?
Well, that was with the second round of mods.
Oh,
when I
okay.
did the full engine build.
Okay. And did you just get addicted to modding it? Is that why you kept doing it?
No, I had the lifter tick again.
Mm.
And then I got the next lifter tick at around 152,000 miles. And so I decided to go big on this build. I was down at San Antonio by this time. So I went to a supposedly well-known and well-liked builder and had them put my car together with all my crazy mods and everything. And did it that way, and then had the lifter tick again around 190 some thousand miles. I've got this all written down here somewhere, but I had the dreaded lifter tick 3 times.
Wow, dude.
That's insane. So the first one was under 30,000 miles before it came back, right?
That was the second build.
On the second build. That is
Yeah.
crazy to me.
Yeah, I have an LS3 in my car. It's a Lexus, but I swapped an LS3 in, and I dropped a lifter on mine as well, and I did a cam and all that stuff as well. So I definitely feel your pain there. Where are you at with mileage now, and how's it been running? And tell me about the latest iteration of this car.
So I had a shop here in Omaha after the third lifter tick at about 190,000 miles. They basically just took it. They took the short block down to a machine shop, and the guy was honing out the cylinders. And when he did that, he found out that 4 of the passenger side cylinder walls were cracked.
Oh,
Wow.
Assuming from heat.
Sure.
So he had them re-sleeved with Darton sleeves and cleaned the block up real well, reassembled everything, put the factory crank back in, and then the forged rods and pistons.
Very cool.
And then we went back. I had the Trick Flow 255 heads in there, and Kong 2650 supercharger with a Kong billet dual pass lid. So and that's
Sounds
when I was
nasty.
getting and that's when I was getting 22, 23 pounds of boost.
And how's it held up with that insane amount of boost on a V8?
About 5 or 6,000 miles later, the rockers were getting pulled out of the heads.
Mm-hmm. I believe that.
Someone had gone in and drilled out all the rocker where the rockers are drilled into.
Sure. And they stripped them?
And stripped them, and then they put in different threads.
Yeah, they use, what are those called?
It's slipping my mind.
Mine too, funny enough, but
they didn't hold. So I sold my original
nutserts,
LSA
basically, right?
Yeah.
Helicoil.
Helicoil, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And so I sold my LSA heads to a good buddy of mine, and he was putting them on his Corvette, which is another insane build that you guys probably have talked to him at some point. He had those ported and polished down at Texas Speed down in Texas, and he sold them back to me because he needed to go bigger on his heads. And when I made the swap from the Trick Flow 255 heads to the now PRC heads that I had, the boost actually went down, but the power went up.
Nice.
So these heads are flowing so much better. I went from 22, 23 pounds of boost down to 17, 18 pounds of boost with like 50 or 60 more horsepower.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah.
So you're running on E85.
Mostly, yes.
Mostly E85. And I mean, you even drive like distance on the E85, right? And
yeah, I route I plan my route around where I can find E85.
That's crazy.
That was a good question. I was wondering the same. When he mentioned that earlier, I was like, wow, that's hard to do. It's kind of like, most people aren't running that, and it kind of like lost its like allure to people,
Yeah.
Which sucks.
But I've also got an auxiliary fuel tank in the trunk for another 17.5 gallons of distance.
And what does that net you?
So I can go about 450 to 590 miles on 37, 38 gallons of E.
That's insane. For that motor and build. What kind of power are you putting out? I mean, what's the final number on the latest iteration?
Yeah, so like on the Mustang dyno down here in Omaha, it's 778 wheel horse and 708 torque.
Wow. That's sick.
That's crazy.
And supposedly on this dyno, someone has gone from this dyno to a dyno jet.
Right.
And you add 23%.
Jesus.
So roughly 950 wheel horse.
And the world may never know.
Until I hit a dyno jet, but it's all bench racing, right?
Right. It's just about the picture. But no, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Do you do any maintenance before these trips you take?
I keep pretty close tabs on the oil.
Sure. Especially when you're all shell shocked from your lifter ticks.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'll do is I'll bring an oil pan with me to drain oil into, and a jack and jack stand, and I'll bring 2 changes of oil and 2 or 3 oil filters with me just in case something happens. My last trip before Thanksgiving, I drove out to my sister's house on the West Coast, and I changed the oil in her garage because I was at 4,000 miles on that oil change. I should have changed it in Las Vegas, but whatever. So
gotta do what you gotta do.
I changed it in California, and then I'm probably about 500-600 miles away from doing another oil change. So I keep an eye on that. And then, while I was on the West Coast, I changed my differential oil. I guess it'd been about 27,000 miles since I changed that out. And,
what are you using for that?
Dams oil.
Everything?
Yeah.
And you trust them?
Yeah. Unless Jeremy's got something bad to say about them.
No, I agree. I love their stuff. I'm just curious if you've had any, because you've had a lot of lifter ticks, so I'm just curious.
Yeah. No.
It was build issues?
Yeah, it was definitely build issues because this 4th round, they put in some Johnson lifters. They're connected with a bar. They don't have the lifter tray anymore, and I felt the pinch when they told me how much they cost.
Oh, I bet.
So,
And so what's the bar about? I've never heard of this.
so without the lifter tray,
Mm-hmm.
they would spin, of course. So they put a bar between the intake and the exhaust, and
Okay.
then
Yep.
they just oscillate or whatever on that.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I don't even. What is the cost on that setup?
I don't even know. I looked at and I looked away.
And you looked away and just slid the card through.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
I believe it, dude. Yeah, and that's what I would do too.
yeah.
What's the coolest place you think you visited on all these adventures you've had?
So I went down to southern Florida. What's the
Tampa?
island?
Okay.
Island chain down there.
Key?
Yeah, I went
Key
down to the
West.
Florida Keys.
Okay, yeah, the Keys,
And
yeah.
the last morning that my family and we were there, my mom got up early with me. She's not a morning person, might I add. And she went with me to the famous big concrete thing they got down there. And it says the southernmost point of the contiguous United States.
Oh, nice.
And she took a picture of me sitting in the car and with that in the background. That's probably my favorite.
That's sweet,
Definitely
dude.
my favorite.
Nice.
And do you take trips with her a lot?
When I can, I do. Yeah.
That's cool, man.
So yeah.
That was one of my questions. You fly solo most of the time in the car, or do you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay,
I would,
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. She's not really a people person.
Okay.
Kind of loud.
Can't blame her.
And with that auxiliary fuel tank in the trunk, I need to get a different O-ring for the lid because it
Stinks.
puts a fuel smell in the vehicle.
Yeah.
So I've had to do laundry a couple times when I hadn't worn the clothes because I got fuel stench all over the clothes just from being inside the cabin.
And that's dedication, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
What's next for Elvira?
So I want to get a different cold air intake. And the one I have, it goes down way too far into the front end, and it doesn't catch the fresh air like it should. So there's a Rotofab Big Gulp 5-inch air intake that I want to get, and then I'll get a retune on that. Honestly, that's really about it. But supposedly, with the way airflow works, I should, because right now the rev limiter is at 6,100 RPM. If we can get more airflow into the engine, hopefully boost that 6,100 up to 66 or 6,700 RPM,
Whew.
which should put me well into the 850 wheel horsepower, if not higher.
On the dyno you're used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something, man. What kind of a tire setup you running? Is it stock out there?
Yeah. 305s in the back, then a 285s in the front on a 20-inch wheel.
Okay. That's
And what are they? Because I mean, you were just out here in the Portland.
Just a Continental all season.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, probably one of the best tires I've had for power wise. I put it in second gear and I leave traction control on, of course, and I smash the throttle, and I don't notice any slippage until it retards the timing over about 4,000, 4,500 RPM. And then I shift into third, and it's goes again until about 5,000, where I notice it retarded the timing a bit, and then haven't had the guts to do that in fourth gear yet. So
yeah.
Nice.
I don't think I would either.
Yeah. Okay, so you sent me a few files a couple days ago to look at, and I didn't do a in-depth dig through them, but I want to talk about them. So, one of them was your maintenance log, right?
The Excel document.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my fuel log.
Fuel log. Okay.
Yeah, that's got the date, the odometer, the fuel amount I put in, the total cost, and then there's a note column in there. And it hasn't been until the last year or two that I started saying what fuel I was putting in and where I put the fuel in, like Las Vegas, Rifle, Colorado, and so on.
Right. Which is, I mean, that's kind of impressive that you're keeping notes that close. Like, I've thought about it, but honestly, super hard to even remember to do that, right? Do you also keep?
Go ahead.
Do you also keep the log for the maintenance and
So the maintenance log is therein. So like it shows here on whatever date it was with whatever odometer that I got fuel in Walnut Creek, California, and then I did an oil filter change, and then differential oil as well.
Nice. And you did that all at your sister's house?
Yeah.
Oh,
Put it on the jack stand, and yeah, I'm the redneck uncle that comes into town. So,
oh, I love it.
yeah.
Nice. Okay, so I mean, what other logs do you keep for that thing besides the maintenance and the fuel and?
Honestly, that's it.
Yeah,
that's really it. Yeah. I mean, it's not perfect because I don't always put in something. Like right now, I don't know when the last time I changed my spark plugs, but I can look back when we swapped heads, and I can figure out that they put in new spark plugs because I remember paying for them when they put those Texas speed heads back on.
yeah. And then did you also, like when you did the plugs and all that stuff, did you do the plug wires or coils?
Plug wires should be good for 100,000 miles or so.
Yeah.
But you can do a resistance test on them to see how they're flowing.
Yeah, because I know when Grant did the plug wires in the Viper, there was a substantial change in power when he put the new ones in.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was kind of curious about that.
And these wires were replaced at 152,000 miles. So, I mean, it might be getting close to time to swap them out. So,
yeah, you're only at 60-ish thousand miles on them.
Yeah.
Maybe. But car running hotter, I guess, does it run hotter running on E85?
No, cooler actually.
Really?
Yeah, because the ethanol has the cooling effect on the cylinder.
Oh, interesting. I figured it burned hotter and faster, so it would be hotter. Interesting.
Nope. At least that's what I'm told.
Yeah, so what about the exhaust? Is that pretty much stock from the headers back, or did you replace some of that exhaust with?
So let me back up a little bit. We were talking about fuel, and then you jumped into exhaust.
Sure.
I noticed something because like we discussed. I always run on E85 as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
When I drove to California back in May, there was a point where I ran out of E85 and I couldn't get any for about 400 miles, so I filled up with 91 octane, and I noticed a significant difference in the exhaust note.
Really? Okay.
I did, and I asked a few guys in the ZL1 Facebook group that I'm on, and other guys have noticed it as well. So,
interesting.
Yeah, they tie it back to with the timing, because you can advance the timing so much more further with E85 than you can with 91 or 93 octane. So that was kind of a neat surprise to me. It's like, wow, that sounds different. I wonder if it's just my ear where I'm at or what. But back to your question, my exhaust, the only thing stock about my exhaust are the hangers and the mufflers.
The hangers and the mufflers. So,
yeah,
headers, cat,
downpipe,
all that stuff.
No cat.
No cats.
No cats.
Nice.
Long tube headers, 1 7/8. And those are ceramic coated,
Mm-hmm.
Down to a 3-inch collector, to a 3-inch dual X pipe.
Oh, X pipe, very cool.
And then those go to the factory NPP muffler. So those mufflers, you can they're valved, so you can. Well, I have a remote for those things where I can leave the valve open, so I'm getting basically a wide open exhaust, to closing them to getting a muffled exhaust, and then the third option is just factory, and they open when you're over 50% throttle, or they open above 3,000 RPM or whatever.
Yeah.
That's great.
So I can play with that.
So when he was pulling out of here the other day, he goosed it a little bit at the top of the hill. And I was telling him, I listen for everybody that leaves. Everybody gets down onto that bottom road and just opens it up, right? So he went up. And I heard him all the way up to the main road. And then when he got on it going up, oh man, that thing was singing.
I'll bet it was.
I was sitting there going, God damn, that's nice.
That sounds cool, man.
Yeah, I wish you would have gotten some audio of that. I haven't heard her from outside the car yet. So.
Yeah,
Really, after all these miles, bro?
I think
Well, I'm the only one who drives it.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I guess so.
I think this year I'm actually going to get a shotgun microphone so I can do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be cool.
I'm gonna try to get some exhaust notes at the track so we can add it to the intro outro.
That would be sick.
All right.
That sounds cool, man. I do love the valves. And was that a stock option, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just factory.
It
wasn't an option. It was just what the car came with.
Wow, that's cool.
The thing that I did was get the remote for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it'll open up as RPMs increase no matter what, or if you want it to?
Yeah, if I wanted to. It's called the Forza Model B6 exhaust valve controller.
Okay.
So some guy in his basement put this thing together, and I plugged it into my car and in the trunk somewhere, and it works.
Wow,
So,
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's dope.
I keep it closed when I'm in the neighborhood.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't want to piss off my neighbors.
Oh, yep.
And then once I'm at the stoplight,
You'll cold start at 6 a.m. with it wide open.
oh god, yeah, they don't really like it a whole lot.
I
But,
wouldn't imagine.
a few of my neighbors have told me, like, hey, we really enjoy hearing your car in the morning, because they're old people that retire and they're getting up anyways.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you're the only people who have ever told me that. And then I had another set of neighbors tell me the same thing. It's like, well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Okay, so good to bad. What's the ratio? Because I'm sure you've had some neighbors say the opposite.
20-1.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, like, I always drive through the neighborhood, like in first gear at 2,000 RPM, just
Right.
20 miles an hour. I'm never speeding. If someone comes up behind me and they want to pass me, or if I'm going too slow, I just pull over.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just not worth it. And it's like, I don't know about you, bro, but like if you got a loud car, like my car on diesel, like pops no matter what.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like I'll be driving 20 miles an hour in a 25, and people will like run out of their house and like wave me down, like, stop going so fast. I'm like, I'm literally going under the speed limit, dude.
Yeah.
It's just so loud.
Yeah.
All right, I want to shift gears a little bit. No pun intended. Tell me about the truck that you sent me pictures of this week.
Oh yeah. So that's down at HS Automotive and Dyno down here in Omaha, right off of Highway 370 and I-80. And that's just, I don't know, that truck's just been in the shop for God knows how long. It bounces between HS Automotive and Dyno and this other guy, Jeff. I forget what the name of his, or Joe, I forget what the name of his shop is called, but they do some pretty amazing work in that entire building. And so Joe will do a lot of the work. He'll do the build. He'll lower it. He'll put the, what's it called? Tubbing it, when you get those big wheels in there. And then they'll come over to HS for the tuning.
Wow.
And TJ over there, he's the one that does the tuning. He's a pretty damn amazing guy. So not only is he like a really super honest guy, but Like he does the work that you want him to do, not what you ask him to do.
Oh yeah,
So
nice.
What kind of truck is it?
I started out as a Chevrolet, the 454 SS, single cab. I think it's a short box, but it's got 24-inch wheels on it, and the rear tires, I think they're like 345 wide.
Yeah, they look like drag slicks from the picture.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, but they're radials, and they're like a regular street tire. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Is this your truck?
No, it was like
Oh God, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
it's just something
curious.
Something that was in the shop.
That's cool,
Yeah,
man.
I go down to the shop every once in a while. I hang out with my buddy Jeff.
Nice.
Jeff's
Dude.
got the Corvette I mentioned earlier. And
Okay.
he's got a transmission shop where he it's in the back of HS, and he rebuilds GM transmissions.
Okay. Very cool.
So,
let's talk quickly about, or not quickly, but let's just shift here a little bit to, let's get into some racing. What types of racing have you done, if any? Not necessarily with this car, but just in general.
yeah. So I've done. So I started out with this car doing just high performance driving events with NASA Northwest, and I think the first track I went to was what's the one out there in Shelton, the Ridge Motorsports Park.
Yeah,
the Ridge. Yeah, I've driven there too.
Yeah, still to this day my favorite track. So I did track days with those guys with NASA Northwest until I guess they went under.
I think the Ridge shut so much stuff down because they did a few drift events about 4 years ago, and I was lucky enough to be involved with 2 of them. And they haven't done one since. I just think they've kind of like dialed back on their grassroots stuff in general.
Yeah, well, yeah. So it was NASA Northwest that went under that I was talking about. They and then started doing track days with other groups and everything, and then eventually, begrudgingly to me, because I never wanted to leave HPD Group 3. I just wanted to hang out with my buddies that I made at the track, just drive my car fast and have fun. I never wanted to get competitive. I'm not a competitive type of personality. Just want to go out and have fun, hang out with the boys. And my good friend Dave, who Jeremy knows, he went and bought a freaking race car, a little NA Miata, and he suckered me into doing a track day on that thing, and then we named it Half Pint, and then I started doing race weekends with him, and then that put an end to my track day events with Elvira, because I was racing the freaking Miata.
Yeah.
So,
tell me about the Miata.
Well, my first time going out in that car, it was after I'd done a session or two in my car, and I get back to the pits, and Dave and Matt are there, and they ask me, "Well, how was it? How do you like it?" I'm like, "Well, it's missing about 400 horsepower."
Yeah.
And they did not give me a positive review on that comment, but it wasn't very quick.
Yeah.
Then it handled really well. The braking was decent, and since then they've done a great job of building the car up and racing it. I had a lot of fun doing that and got a lot of great experience and just doing. Actually, racing, door-to-door racing is insane because everybody's out there. You got sometimes 100 cars on the track at the same time, and you're just trying not to trade paint.
Right.
So it's I'll tell you, it's a lot of fun. It's a heck of a adrenaline boost.
Yeah, I bet, man. And how many cars are out there? Is it all Miatas? What are you guys doing? Is it just all sorts of stuff, or?
So I started with. It was Chump Car back then, but I think
I've heard of it.
Champ Car now. And then more recently with Lucky Dog Racing League, And depending on the track, depending on the month when they're having the race, there might be 20 or 30 cars. There might be 100 cars on the track.
Wow. That's nuts.
100 cars on a track would be just... That's a lot of
I
traffic.
think most of the time when there was like 90 or 100, it was like a 5-mile track, like Thunderhill Raceway in California.
Yeah.
Or I think there's a 5-mile track there at
Grass Valley.
Utah Motorsports Park.
Okay, yeah.
No, Grass Valley is like 2.3 miles.
Okay, that checks out.
Miles.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, but Grass Valley, God, that's another great track.
Isn't it?
I just wish they had a really good straightaway instead of that one with like that kink in it.
Yeah, no, I agree, but we drifted there years ago, and then they finally let us drift again 2 years ago and this year, so I'm stoked. I love it for drifting, but I could see what you're saying. There's no real flat-out spot.
And that's ORP, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I've driven that track. That's a good one.
What's your favorite style of racing and why? And it doesn't have to be something you've done yourself. We're just curious.
It's got to be what I've done, grassroots.
Yep.
With like Lucky Dog or whatever.
Sure.
But honestly, I think for me, just like HPD, Group 3, you just got 10 or 15, maybe 20 cars out there. Yep. And I just get to be in my car and having fun with my car and my buddies in their cars, and we're just kind of goofing around and having a good time.
Yeah.
And once in a while, the track will open up, and you can, give it your all and get your best lap.
Yeah, I agree. I think that doing the grassroots style and a little more informal style of any motorsports event lends to being more fun. I've helped friends with other types of events, very serious events, and it's just not quite as fun.
Right.
So I would agree. Anything in that style or segment like HPD is very cool.
I think you've already touched on this a little bit, but how does the team racing environment motivate you? Does it make you want to drive faster?
It makes me study the track before I get there. And fortunately, there's so many great YouTube videos out there that before you even get there, you can know the track.
That's cool.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
A lot of guys really like to do the what's the video game called where you sit in there and you have the steering wheel and
Assetto Corsa.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah, Assetto Corsa.
I can't do video games. I just don't have the patience for it.
You don't like the Sims? You're not a Sim guy?
Oh God, I hate them. I tried doing them. They just drive me insane. No pun intended, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'll sit there and watch a YouTube video and have a printout of the map of that track. And when the person's going through a corner or whatever, if they're making commentary, I'll pause it, write down that commentary on that area, on that corner of the track, what it may be, and then hit play again or rewind and make sure I got everything down. And I'll watch that video 30, 40, 50 times just to know the track.
Mm-hmm. That's smart.
So Motor Corsa,
Assetto Corsa.
Assetto Corsa has a bunch of tracks, right?
Right. Yeah, they have. As far as I know, nowadays they have pretty much every public or even private tracks on it.
Yeah, that's the one that had ORP and the Ridge and all that stuff in it. So
they had Park too, Pat Sagers.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's crazy because I think Grant had that and had it all set up with his wheel
with
and
the
all
sim.
that stuff.
Yeah,
and we did it in VR. And
you told me about this. Yeah,
that track in VR was pretty freaking accurate.
Oh, it is. No, they're very accurate. People put a lot of time into this, and it's it's not just one person doing it. It's people can make suggestions and changes, as far as I know. So Assetto Corsa, I mean, not to give you shit, Brent, but I think it'd probably be easier for you to just do Assetto Corsa.
Here's the one thing. Here's the one thing I noticed.
What is this thing called? Assetto.
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 How do you spell that?
Asetto. Corsa.
Okay. What is that? A video game?
Yeah, it's a simulation like video game.
So do I have to buy like the steering wheel and the chair and like the pedals and everything?
I mean, if you want it to feel like accurate and stuff, yeah, you would. But I think you can play it other ways. Like I think guys can control it with buttons. I'm not a ton. I've only seen guys use it with a sim setup.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think it's a free thing. Like you just need a sim setup to run it.
I think you can actually go find a sim arcade
Yeah,
and go
and run it.
do it. I mean, it
Yeah.
might be a little drive from Omaha, but
I'm sure there's somewhere in Omaha. It's a
there's a very strong car culture down here. I will say that. But my pocketbook, it's like,
oh, dude,
am
I get
I
it.
buying gas? Am I buying mods for the car? Or am I buying guns? Am I buying ammo?
Yep. Oh yeah, I hear you. You're in
And then
good.
it's like,
You're
wait,
in
I
good
have to eat
company.
somewhere.
amen.
You're in good company.
That's good.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's like, pretty much every hobby. I'm not trying to get too far off here, but every hobby costs so much money, and cars are got to be up there with the most expensive hobby ever.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like throwing thousands of dollars into the trash.
Seriously. Sometimes.
Yeah.
What racing builds have you been a part of? I know you talked about HPD or whatever else you're doing. Anything else? Or
Builds, I guess we could go back to the Miata.
yeah.
I've worked on that car extensively.
Cool.
Swapped out the transmission, blown transmission for a transmission we got at LKQ. And then
What? And it was like just a fresh one, or is it something out of a different car?
it's something out of another car.
Nice.
It's used, but it was only like $120. So we just keep that in the trailer for when that
spare
when it's in the
gearbox.
car blows, and then swap that thing out. I had it down. I could get the blown transmission out and the new transmission in. I think I was like under an hour.
Damn. That's impressive.
I mean, I had done it so many times, but I mean, guys are handing me tools and stuff at the same time. So.
Yeah, and you're doing it on your back, or?
Oh yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, we'll get Dave on.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
We'll get him on and talk a little bit more about Half Pint. He's got tons of stories.
Oh geez, yeah. That car really brought Dave and I together as really good friends. So, but what brought Dave and I together as friends was Elvira and his 2012 red ZL1. So it was my second track day. I was down at it was with NASA Northwest again, and we were down in Portland at PIR.
Cool.
And that's his home track, as he calls it. And then we hung out a little bit on Saturday, and then he didn't sign up to drive on Sunday, but I did. And he said, "Hey, would it be cool to come back and I could ride with you?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." And so he came back the next day, and we hung out, exchanged numbers, and then the next track day, he stayed at my place up there in Tacoma, Washington, and we went to whatever the next track day was. But we hung out, and we became friends, and then that was the beginning of our friendship. Yeah,
That's cool, man. Do you have any plans of racing for this next season with this car or any other car?
No, I don't really make plans to race. They
Sure.
just kind of happen.
Sure. Yeah.
If it happens that Dave says, "Hey, we got a race coming up," and I've got the money for it, then I'll head out there and drive the car. Otherwise,
That's interesting.
probably not.
So you're a part of the team, right? Officially or otherwise?
I would say otherwise.
Okay. Yeah. So it costs you out of pocket money to do so, just to give every listener a little idea of how this really works.
Yeah. Lucky Dog Racing League, they charge teams. You have to have a minimum, I believe. Don't quote me.
Okay.
You have to have a minimum of 4 drivers.
Mhm.
And then there's a driver fee. So for 4 drivers, I think it's $1,200 a person. I could be wrong. So 1,200
Wow.
times 4 being, 4,800 for the almost $5,000 for one car, but you got to pay for the car entry as well. So
What's that look like?
I couldn't tell you. I don't pay that.
Man, I thought drifting was expensive.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's nuts.
But how much seat time do you actually get for that $1,200?
2 hours each day.
And how long is it?
It's
How many
like
days?
8 or 9 hours on Saturday and 7 or 8 hours on Sunday.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
And that's for the team, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
So each driver has to swap out at 2 hours.
Okay. Got it.
So it'd be 8 hours ish of driving for 4 driver. That's crazy though. I mean,
That's nuts, man. And you said there's almost 100 cars sometimes?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
we need to get into
Yeah.
selling
No shit.
racetrack time.
No doubt.
What are we doing?
What the hell?
That
That's crazy.
2 hours. That 2 hours
Feels like a
out there,
lifetime.
It goes by so fast.
Oh,
My
it
first
goes
2
by
hour
fast.
stint. My first 2 hour stint I did. I wasn't wearing a watch. I was wearing a full racing fire suit helmet. We didn't have a radio at the time. And I go out and do my stint. And Matt goes out there and he waves at me and I wave at him and he's waving at me, come on in, next lap. And I'm like, oh, hey, Matt's saying hi. I must be doing good. And then I do a couple more laps and Matt comes back out and he waves, but he's like gesturing towards himself. I'm like, he's waving at me again. There's no way this is 2 hours. I'm looking at the fuel and I'm not even down to 3/8 of a tank because we did a lot of parade laps because of
Sure.
whatever car the
Qualifiers?
the caution car.
Caution
whatever is
car,
out there
yeah.
on the track. So we're driving, parade laps, and next thing I know, David and Matt are out there, and David looks at me and he points at me and he gives the dad look, points at me and points at the pit. I'm like, oh, I need to come in.
Yeah, I'd say.
Oh,
Was
okay,
that
so
2 hours
And
already?
With that, just
and
curious.
honestly, it was so fun. It went by so fast. I had no idea that I'd been out there for over 2 hours.
Dude, that's
And,
nuts. And you guys
yeah.
are on it like that, and you're on the car the whole time?
Oh yeah, that car lives above 6,000 RPM.
And it can live like that for 9 hours?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Holy
you can live like
shit,
that for
dude.
24 hours. Yeah.
I can't. I mean, my
It's
car
wild.
just can't.
Oh yeah.
I'm like 5 laps in, and I'm fucking, just
I'm gonna have to
nearly,
cool it
like,
off for a while.
terrifyingly hot. But that's cool, man. I'm sure they were thrilled about that. Will that disqualify your team if you go too long?
If the driver's in the car too long, I think you just get you have to
Penalty?
sit in the pits. Yeah, penalty time or whatever. I don't
Okay.
know that they pull you off the track or kick you out or whatever. But fortunately, they didn't notice.
Oh, good.
So probably just realized that I was kind of an idiot and didn't know what to do.
Yeah, man.
But after that,
I'd be excited
after that, I
too.
was on my watch.
Yeah.
So
And do you guys have comms now?
we do.
That's sick.
Yeah.
What kind of setup is it? Just curious for the guys who are curious like me.
It's something that like an earbud. You just
Mm-hmm.
pop in your ear, and then there's like a microphone with a sponge thing around it that's by your mouth you talk into, and then you key the mic by pushing the button on the steering wheel.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah.
Nice. I figured it was just a race quip so you could hear them, but they couldn't hear you.
No. Yeah, I can talk to them.
Oh, cool.
So,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
imagine you'd have to hear them too. Yeah.
yeah, it's really nothing like too fancy. It's just a couple of handheld radios, and then you plug
Remote
whatever
button.
into you plug whatever into the car, and then you just push the button.
That's
Nice.
sweet, dude.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right. We're down to the questions. I warned you about these 2 questions.
Yeah.
So what 3 vehicles do you want to drive someday?
So I'm going to throw some curveballs at you.
Ooh, I love curveballs.
I got a buddy of mine who has a beautiful Lamborghini Huracan. So I'm not going to say that I want to drive a Huracan or a Lamborghini because I could probably go drive his if I asked him on the right day.
Nice.
I've driven one of his Porsches. That was a pretty cool car. I think it was a 91 or 92 964 turbo. I could be wrong. I'm not a Porsche guy.
That's a 993 and a 91.
Yeah.
I love the last air cooled.
Nice.
That's my favorite Porsche.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool car. You had to keep it. You had to keep the turbo up to keep the lag down.
Oh, definitely.
But, I really kind of want to drive like one of those big Caterpillar Land Movers.
Oh,
And,
really?
I love driving industrial things.
Like the big dump truck?
No, like one of those big things that like scrapes the earth.
Oh,
Wow.
And, like takes a hill down. Like,
Yeah,
I want to move a hill.
Yeah, like a big D30 something. Yeah, I get it.
Whatever it is.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
okay. I'm into that.
I can get into that too.
And then because it's kind of popular these days, one of those Komatsu D355s.
Oh, buddy, I know what you're talking about.
Armored or not, that would be something cool, possibly nostalgic to drive.
Okay, so heavy equipment guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got another vehicle for good measure? Could be 4.
Yeah, something like a monster truck, like Gravedigger, or like possibly.
yes.
Man,
I'm
that's
gonna
a good
go with
call.
like the classic Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a good call, dude. I haven't even considered that, but I would love to do that.
That's the first time we've had anybody say
Yeah.
heavy equipment and a
Or
monster
a
truck.
monster truck.
And I grew up like going to the monster truck show every year with my dad.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't even think of like Gravedigger or Bigfoot or any of those things. That's solid. I like it.
Yeah.
No, that's great. I just want to clarify with our listeners because somebody's going to roast me for it. 1991 Porsche is a 964, and I love those cars too, but not my favorite.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Oh, I know they're great, and they're so small and light.
Okay.
Oh God, yeah. That's the funny thing about Porsches and Miatas and Corvettes. Like, I was in the pit, lined up, getting ready to go out on the track in my car, in the Elvira, and one of the pit workers was like, "Hey, hop out real quick. I want you to see how big your car is compared to these other cars."
Yeah, for sure.
And I had no idea.
Oh, you're
absolutely no idea. And I looked at the Miata parked next to me, and then the Corvette on the other side, and I just had no idea how the size difference.
Yeah, we're blind to it in this day and age, right? Like you don't see many classic 90s, 80s cars out there anymore. So it's like when you do see one when you're driving your car, you're not really thinking about how big or small they are. But when you set them side by side, it's unreal.
Yeah, but then when you're going on driving on the highway, or you're riding shotgun in a 93 or 94 Miata.
Yeah.
And
you can feel it.
That Highway 26 from Hillsdale to Hillsboro to Portland, is that 26?
You almost called it the nickname, dude. But we'll save that for later. All right. No, that was. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, that is the highway.
Was that Highway 26? Yeah. So I was riding with Dave one time from point A to point B on Highway 26. And he's weaving in and out of traffic like crazy. And I'm just sitting here riding shotgun, looking up at like a Ford Focus. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, I'd never ridden into Miata on the street. It's only been on the track. Like,
sure.
What the? You got to be kidding me. But yeah.
That first gen Miata is tiny.
My car is huge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And what's the weight on your car? Curb weight? Just curious.
Factory, I think it's 4,200.
That's heavy, dude.
Yeah.
But I have gone through, like, I gutted the interior after I got it back.
I bet.
That, big build. And I put in I put in Dynamat and Dynafoam. I put in 5/8" Dynafoam
Yeah, that stuff's dope.
all throughout the interior. I put it in the walls. I put it. I pulled the seatbelt out of that car,
Wow.
and I pulled everything out of the interior, and I just covered the interior with Dynamat and Dynafoam, and the trunk as well. And after that, you could have a conversation in the car while it was running.
Wow. Even now.
So the car is heavier.
Yeah, I bet.
Especially with the additional 17.5 gallons of fuel.
Oh yeah, I bet with a full couple tanks, you're ready to compete against the Dodge Challenger. But and it's so unassuming because the car, those cars don't look very big. They don't look as big as a Challenger on the road.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I mean, one of my best friends down here in Omaha, he's got a Charger.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a sedan though.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I expect those to weigh 5,000 pounds.
Yeah.
But I guess his does look a little bit bigger than mine does. But
All right, you ready for your curveball since I didn't tell you about the third question?
sure.
All right.
Well, you need to ask me the second question.
Yeah, we need.
I know I haven't got to the second one, but I'm going to throw this one in instead. Well, first. So in addition to the 3 cars you want to drive someday, what 3 vehicles would you want to own?
Oh. 6th gen Corvette ZR1.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Good call, bro.
I want
like the C6.
I want
C6
it
is
bone
best.
stock. I want it bone stock. I guess I don't really care about the color,
Really?
but blue or red.
Yeah, that
Okay. Yeah.
that electric blue is nice.
I like it
Yeah.
in red too, though. It's gorgeous.
I'm going to go with the C8 ZR1.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not
You're
really
a hybrid
Corvette
guy?
Well, the
No,
ZL1's
the ZR1 is
ZR
a hybrid.
It's not a hybrid?
No, the ZL1's
that's
the
the Zora.
1084 from the factory.
1064.
64,
Twin
yeah.
turbo, 5.5 liter, flat plane crank.
Right, I know that. I thought
No, the Stingray, I think. Stingray?
No, the
E-Ray.
Zora.
E-Ray.
The
Zora.
E-Ray.
Yeah.
E-Ray
Yeah.
is the
I forget
hybrid.
what the Zora is going to be. If they've even announced it.
right, I think it's coming out this year. Yeah.
Yeah, I know there was some people at the Corvette Club that were looking at him to race at the autocross. But because it has the batteries, I think it's been disallowed because of the fire suppression.
Yeah, I believe that.
Okay, so was that 3?
And so you're talking about the
Okay, that was 2. So
right?
you got a C6 ZL1,
Yeah.
the C8 ZL1,
Correct.
ZR1s.
ZR1.
ZR1.
Yeah.
And
Third one, possibly the 2003 or 4 Chevy Silverado SS.
ooh, okay.
All-wheel
Two-wheel
drive.
drive? All-wheel drive. Oh.
I want the all-wheel drive with the 6-liter,
What year?
and I'm gonna 03 or 04.
Oh, there you're talking, bud. That's my gen. I
Yeah.
love that
But
stuff.
I want to pull that motor,
Okay.
and I want to put the 10.3 liter 632 V8
Yep.
in there.
Yep. That'd be sick,
Yeah.
dude. All right, we're gonna get along great in person, dude. I've got an 02 Sierra 6-liter. It's a 2500.
Nice.
I love it, dude. It's really clean. It's white. It's 4-wheel drive, but still, I love it.
All right, now that
Yeah.
you hit the curveball out of the park, what's your hard no car? Or vehicle, I guess.
You mean besides the blue F250?
Besides my truck.
So
Aw.
I have asked a few of my car buddies around here and told them what I thought, and they don't all agree, but they kind of agree. I would never drive something pink, but also I would never want to drive a Subaru.
That's funny.
Now I know why you got out of the Northwest, bro.
So he sent me a video 2 days ago. It was a dude going Let's play a game.
I've seen it. It's so
oh my
good.
God,
It's so
he
good.
looks for a freaking Subaru in Portland, and the 3 times he
Subaru
dropped
hatchback.
a hatchback,
Hatchback.
Subaru. Each time he dropped the pin, and then finally he goes, "Okay, it's impossible."
He zooms in, does a 360 spin. He's like, "Fuck."
There's one. Damn it.
Yeah, no, it's facts, and that's the truth of it.
That's funny. So Subaru and anything pink. Okay, I'll get behind that. I get behind that. You know, we've had
Color's
a lot
not a
of,
really thing for me, but I could see it. I mean, I don't want a pink car, but I drive it like temporarily.
yeah.
Well, thing is, like,
Like if it was a C8 ZR1, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna hard no.
Really?
Hard no.
Really?
I don't care if it's
Even if you had a hot blonde in the
be
passenger
driving
seat?
it. If there's a hot blonde in the passenger seat, she's not there for me.
So I'm really glad you said Subaru and anything pink, because next time you come out, none of us will do this. So we're gonna set up the Tesla truck for you.
Oh God, that was gonna be the other thing I mentioned.
Yeah, well, we're all big fans of the Cybertruck over here.
Yeah, you sound like it.
Yeah.
Big.
We see so many of them out here, bro. It's so bad. We see them
So,
lifted and like with wraps on them, and it's like, what is
I
happening?
saw one tonight when I took my car to go to the grocery store on a quick trip for Bob Jameson.
Nice.
We like that.
The reason why I say pink, we
Oh no.
got into a wreck on the track with the Miata. Dave was driving. He got T-boned by another guy.
Wow,
And,
that's hard to do out there, right?
Not really.
Oh wow.
Not really. Thank God I was not driving, but they had to redo the car, and this guy ended up owning a company that builds paint booths or whatever for automotive use. And he's like, "Hey, well, we can fix the car. We can straighten out the frame. We know a guy, and we can paint it for you." And he ended up painting the car, did an amazing job on it. And he says, "Hey, pop the hood." And I'm with Dave. We popped the hood, and they painted the underside of the damn hood pink. And I walked away. I was furious.
Bro, that is a power move.
I don't think anybody knew my complete disdain for the color pink until
Oh
that day.
my God.
And I walked out of the shop. I couldn't believe it.
I mean, I gotta say, like, I agree with you. Without permission, that is nuts. Like,
Yeah.
that's like fighting.
Well,
that's like fighting shit.
That was the only
On your
car.
race
They
car,
did
he
so
like
much
gives you
work
this
on this
perfectly
car.
painted frame straight car. Like, hey, I fixed it, guys. Pop the hood, and it's like bright pink, like bubble gum.
Oh yeah. It's Hubba Bubba pink.
Dude, props to that guy, at least on one aspect of it, because that is a
Good job
fucking
on the
power
prank.
move,
I'll tell you,
dude.
I love a good prank.
Right, it's a good,
But-
yeah, it's in good
Oh,
spirit.
God,
So-
that son of a gun. I hope
Seriously.
he hears this too.
After you were done puking in your mouth and you walked away, were you like, that's going to have to change?
Did you rattle can it that night?
Well, fortunately, about a year or two later, somebody had grenaded the engine, and there was a fire. And
Oh, wow. And
destroyed
it
that
smoked it.
hood. It destroyed that hood. And, yeah, so
Dude, that is a good
day,
story.
Yeah,
That is funny.
yeah. No, it's hilarious, but God, man,
Wow.
Hey, you want to come out and race with us next year? We're painting our car pink.
Yeah, you got to drive too.
yeah. I will pay once I see the car.
Oh, I'll pay.
Yeah, you'll be out a couple grand.
It would be worth it.
Oh man,
Well, dude, it's been great having you on, man.
yeah, it's been
We
fun.
really appreciate it, dude. And is there anything else you want to say here? Do you
gotta
do
plug.
anything else? So, do you have a social media or anything like that, or what's going on?
Oh yeah, but it's really not automotive centric.
Okay.
I do want to say though, when I got this car, I was in Afghanistan, and I ordered it through a dealership here in Omaha. And when the car was done, when it was built, they and delivered, my mom and dad went to go pick it up for me because I was still overseas. My dad drove it home, and this was in August, I believe, August or September of 2012.
Okay.
And the car was still, it was on the cover of, all the car magazines.
Yeah.
It was the very first one, if not just in Nebraska, but it was the first ZL1 in several, like 5 or 6 surrounding states. And my dad drove it to work every day to get the break-in miles done.
That's nice of him.
For me. Yeah, really nice.
Seriously, because I knew you wanted a hammer on it.
Oh man, but one of the best things was, like, I was working. I'm an officer, so I sit at the desk all damn day, and I would call on a weekend or something and say, "Hey, Dad, can you go start the car for me and put the phone on speaker? Put the phone behind the car and just rev the engine a few times." And he'd do that, and I'd have 10 or 12 guys with me, and we just listen to that car rev.
Oh, dude, that's sick.
And just waiting to come home to see that car. And when I got home, my parents picked me up on post, and then they drove me back to my new apartment that I hadn't even been to before, that they moved me into. And my dad gave me the key to Elvira. And he's like, "It's up 2 floors," or whatever it was. And I ran up those stairs, and I saw her sitting there at the end of the parking garage. And I was like, "Oh my God, it's really there. It's really mine." Several months of just like sweating my butt off to
insatiable anticipation.
Oh my God. It was, I sat in the car and just smelling it. My first brand new car.
Yeah.
And I turned the key, forgot it was a manual. and the dash is like, "Hey, dumbass, you got to push the clutch in." I'm like, "Oh God, okay, sorry, I'm sorry." So I pushed the clutch in.
You tell it sorry.
Oh yeah, Dad's got the car backed into a concrete wall, and so the sound is amplified.
Yeah.
And I got the door open, the windows down, and I fire it up, and it just rumbles to life. And I think I cried a tear, just joy of just being home.
Damn, man.
Like I was excited to see my parents and everything. Don't get me wrong, but I was so happy to finally see my car.
Jeez, dude, that's really cool, man.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like I could be there with you in that story because I love cars that much too, man. That's really cool, dude.
Yeah.
And thank you for your service too, bro.
Oh yeah. It's been a trip.
I bet. Well, dude, it's been great having you on, and we really appreciate you talking with us tonight, and I can't wait to meet you, dude, and I really can't wait to see this car.
All right, man. I'll keep Jeremy posted on when I get out there next.
Hell yeah, sounds good.
All right, man.
All right, we'll see you later, bro.
Have a good night, Brent.
All right. Enjoy.
Later, Brent.
Bye.
Okay.
Sick.
I can't wait till you see this car.
Dude, it sounds nuts.
Elvira is money.
It sounds nuts.
Yeah. So he took me up the hill in it, and I know I've told you guys this before, but I hate riding passenger. Mm-hmm. But he was going to toss me the keys.
Ooh.
And
Sounds
I'm like,
that's never happened.
Well, no. Well, not very often, I don't think, with Elvira. I can't say that for sure, but he was going to toss me the keys. And I'm like, this got 775 horsepower.
On a Mustang hub dyno.
So it's probably 900.
It sounds like it.
It's probably 900, 950.
On a hub dyno.
True horsepower, right? And I'm like, I'm not intimidated by much, but I know my limits.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of car.
It's a lot of car, but it is a heavy car. I was shocked to hear the weight of it, but I'm
Yeah.
not talking shit at all. I just had no idea they weighed that much because they are pretty small, really.
So he wrapped it up going up the hill, and in second gear, off like 2,000, 1,500, 2,000 RPMs, he gunned it, and almost instantly, it was going sideways.
I bet.
And
I bet. With
I was
the
like,
boost,
"Oh baby!"
20 pounds of boost or whatever he's running right now. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah, 17, 18
With, you know,
boost right now.
710 confirmed torque,
Yeah,
wheel torque. That's nuts.
right. That's
It sounds like a great car. I can't wait to see it.
yeah. Oh yeah, you'll be stoked. Okay, let's talk.
All right.
Let's hit the second question first here.
Okay. Yeah.
So give us a drift project.
Well, last time I talked to everybody, I didn't have a real update on the drift car. I took it back to my tuner. His name's Tommy Wong. I limped it over there. It's been running. It's been really weird. It was intermittent. And I'd fired up one time and it was fine. It was like the tune was there and everything's fine. Then I'd hop in the car with my new girlfriend, and then I'd take her, try to show off or take her for a drive, and it would go into limp mode, and it would just, whenever I'd get like above like
This
7,
is
it just
embarrassing.
pissed me off.
Oh yeah.
And it happened a lot. It happened like 3 or 4 times. So I got it to Tommy's again, and he put it back on the dyno, and he's like looking at the codes. He's like, we should not be throwing these codes. We eliminated all this stuff. So he's like, let's just do a firmware update, and we'll reload the tune I had on it. I'm like, cool. And so he did that. It was like 2 weeks ago. And it's been great ever since. And I've driven the shit out of it. So
Nice.
so far, so good, you know.
Knock on
Like
wood.
everything feels really good. Of course, the weather's terrible for a drift car right up in the Northwest. But we have had some really nice sunny days the past week or two. So I've been driving it every chance I get, and I'll tell you what, it feels fantastic. So I was gonna go drift this weekend at Spirit Peaks because they have an open drift event, but it's supposed to be literally drenching rain. And I love to drift, but I just, if it was partly cloudy, I'd go, or like chance of showers, I'd go. But like, yeah, I just can't. I
100%
can't do it,
chance of
man.
rain.
And if you break something on a drift car and you're working on it in the parking lot at a drift track in the rain, it's just miserable.
Maybe if you had a covered trailer.
You're right. If I had a covered trailer,
Yeah.
that'd be sick. And I have pop-ups. I have 2 pop-ups. I'll put them over the car and stuff. But like, if
The
it's on a
ground's
hill, yeah, it's just like, fuck, dude.
Ground's still wet.
So, anyway, for all our listeners, the car's running great, and it feels fantastic. And the alignment, I made a slight change myself, and I noticed one little thing because I put it up on jacks with my boys, and we got it fixed. Everything feels great. The car's ready to drift. I just need the right weather. So next year I'm gonna be on it,
We'll get it by June.
assuming that I don't even get he's like I said, my tuner could not believe that it threw these codes, but all good. It's working now.
Nice. Okay. So here's the question everybody's been waiting for. We want to get your take on the SEMA show, since everybody else was here and you kind of missed out on that show.
Yeah. No, and I wish I could have been here. I've been working out of town for like the last 3 and 4 weeks, so this is really nice to be here on a Wednesday night back in town. But I loved SEMA. I thought it was fantastic. I thought our experience was great too. You know, hanging out with you guys on a real personal level for that many days. We have never done that together.
Yeah.
So that was like first and foremost what I enjoyed most. As far as SEMA's concerned, it's a lot to swallow, and it's like I can see why it's like full on car industry people, buyers, whatever it is. Because the true and harsh facts of it for me, where there's 3 halls I want to see
Right.
out of the 8. And the biggest ones are like, off-road overlanding stuff. And I agree that overlanding is like a motorsport or something like motor related. Obviously, you're outfitting a vehicle to do certain things. It just doesn't really interest me that much. And I know that people are going to dog on me for that. I think it's cool. It just doesn't interest me that much. And I feel like, Hall A or the West Hall was like all overlanding.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, that's cool, but I don't need to see it.
Right.
And then you go to the Central Hall or the one, what is it? The West Hall, yeah. West Hall and East Hall. Yeah, those ones. I'm not really interested. That's the overlanding. And like, there was one section that me and Rob saw in the product hall, which I believe is the East Hall, that had new product showcase. And that was really cool. Me and Rob got lost in there for a little while because it's fascinating. You'll see a brake disc, a new design. You'll see a jack for tools. You'll see a wheel that's cool. You'll see it's just like innovative products. And I wish I noticed that area earlier because I would have spent way more time there. Because by the time it was done, the show was closing. Or by the time we found it, we'd been there for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I was not even like a third of the way through. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that is sick. And I took a bunch of pictures and I've been looking at the products I saw. Like, it's cool to see what's for sale or what's coming out. That was great. Of course, Hot Rod Alley was the best because it's not just hot rods. That's what people get confused about. It's just modified cars, and great vehicles from all over the world, builders, and very impressive. I walked through there 3 or 4 times and always saw something new. I saw friends of mine. I ran into a bunch of friends there from Colorado, Cincinnati, and here, and it was great. It was just really awesome experience. But even after I saw cars posted that I didn't see.
Oh yeah.
So it's like you think you've seen the haul, but you might have been looking at your phone for a minute, and you can miss one of your favorite builds. And then another highlight for me, and I'll end on this, was the tread pass from Toyo. The level of cars they had out there was astonishing. Mm-hmm. Especially for somebody like me, right? That's a Japanese company. I love Japanese cars, as everybody who listens to the show knows. And there was so many different styles of Japanese cars out there. There was classics. There was full-on drift cars. There was cool, just crazy builds. There was K cars. It was very impressive. And it was set up nice. It looked like a white carpet event.
Nice.
With those cars. So I loved it. And meeting a ton of really cool people was great. And, but I will say that walking 38 miles in 3 days is a lot.
Right.
So you got to be prepared for that.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. That was a lot of walking.
It is.
And I think, honestly, I probably left the show earlier than everybody else.
Right. I did on that last day with you, too.
Yeah.
You were like, screw this.
The other 2 days, I know I left a little bit early. I know I left earlier than Rob. Mm-hmm. But, it just felt so overwhelming.
It is.
I was like, too many fucking people. Mm-hmm. I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
One, that's, two, the cars.
You're trying to beat the rush to the monorail, too.
Yeah, trying to beat the rush. I think
because you wait at the monorail for 2 hours.
Yeah, and then, the cars were epic. And I could have probably spent all of my time just in
Hot Rod Alley.
No, just in the Overland.
Yeah.
section.
Oh, I know. And that's the biggest hall.
Yeah, I think I could.
So I could see that because it's the biggest one.
Right. And I would have done it because that's more what I'm
That's
interested
your style.
Right. But I totally wanted to see all of the Japanese cars and all of the, I even wanted to walk through the Brodozer alley or whatever.
Dude, on the street, yeah, it was dope. I saw that and I was like, this is cool.
Yeah, I bet.
I loved that stuff.
When everybody else wandered off, I bet I walked through that. I mean, it wasn't Nah, I guess it was freaking huge, but
The hall.
no, outside.
Yeah, the outside of it.
section. I walked through that stuff for like 2 hours. Mm-hmm. You know, and
Well, there's a lot there.
yeah, and I talked to a bunch of people over there, you know.
That's what I mean. You'll get caught up in a conversation for an hour.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool.
That was great.
Just the whole thing was overwhelming.
It really is.
And the funny thing is, and you know, I didn't realize this till we got home. Like, there was 2 hotels also that had
Yes,
exhibits.
Caesars. The Caesars Forum
Yep.
has all of Apex. And I was told by people on the monorail
Venetian.
and people that I'd been in, the Venetian has a hall as well. That was the first year they did anything that was like custom cars. Like they did I don't know. They did like the crazy, like the Riddler stuff there, like the Riddler builds. And like, I didn't see any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so like, I think they just did it in a different venue this year, which is nuts. And we could have got there. But I know that the Apex, which is like a separate event, but it's tied to SEMA. But I was told by like 3 or 4 people there was amazing cars there.
Yeah.
And they're like, dude, you should have checked that out. And I was thinking about it the whole time, right? I was
It's
just
like
like, yeah, I want to go. But I was
Aftermarket
so...
parts, right?
Well, it's that. And then there's they're showing off parts and cars. And it's like,
Son of a bitch.
I know. And that's a
Out.
huge freaking haul too.
Yeah.
So it's like, I should have checked that out. There's pictures from that. Like my buddies show me, like, did you see this there? I'm like, fuck, I didn't even go.
Yeah. We didn't
know,
have time.
No. And it's just like, man, you get caught up in there and then you do get physically tired. And it's like, you can only do so much in a day.
Yeah.
And then when
You
you're trying...
can only physically do so much in 4 days.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like, you know, I was there Monday through Thursday. And it was like a lot, dude.
Yeah.
And it's like, next year I'm going to be more focused on what I want to know or see. So I'm going to skip over the hall that you liked or whatever. I'll just be more honed in on what I want to see because I've been there. Now I know, like, I do want to check out Apex. I do want to check out the Riddler stuff. Like, I'll do all that stuff next time.
Yeah. And honestly, like, there's 4 of us.
And we should get a hotel off the monorail. If we can.
Do you hear what I was doing next year?
What's up?
I'm getting 3 rooms for us.
Fucking A, bro. Get out of here.
I'm getting 3 rooms. They're all going to be on the 9th floor of the same hotel we were in. So it's going to be an 8-minute walk still.
I don't mind that.
Yeah. So that's going to
Privacy's
be my
different.
That's going to be my that's going to be Grad's getting his own room.
Yeah. Can we at least handle that?
I'm
No,
getting
just
my
kidding. I
own
love you.
room. Grant's getting his own room.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Yeah. So,
No, I love that area, you know.
yeah,
Like, I love that place, but
that's what my wife and I are going to do for it. And we're going to do
Dope.
it from the Friday night before all the way through Friday the next week. So when we go down on that Friday,
get some free time.
we'll get some free time. But the NHRA drag races are down there that weekend.
Somebody mentioned that. I ran into somebody that mentioned that to me. And
Yeah.
I was like, that's cool.
So we're going to go check out the
And it's like a
NHRA
national
drags.
event too, right? Yeah, it's
Exactly.
like one of the 4 nationals. Yeah,
That's right.
Pretty sick.
So we'll go check that out for,
Yeah.
probably a few hours each day. And if you've never been to a drag race,
I've been to an NHRA event. It's
Yeah.
been a long time. It was in California. What is it? It wasn't ever. What's the one that's
Sonoma?
gone now? No, it's in
Oh.
Southern California. Irwindale.
Irwindale, yeah.
And
Okay.
that's gone now.
yeah.
But I remember going there as a kid. My dad took me like twice when I was young, and that was a national event too.
yeah,
And I remember seeing like jet cars and like
yeah.
all that stuff, like blowing
So,
alcohol shit.
I think-
and I loved it, but I've never been as like a
An
grown
adult,
car
yeah.
enthusiast now.
So I don't think Grant's been to one at
Oh
all.
wow, that's crazy.
So like the first time the Top Fuels get out there,
Oh, I love the Top Fuels, dude.
I'm going to be like, so this is going to be a different experience.
It really is.
I don't think he'll realize how loud
Burning
they
3
are.
gallons a second and shit.
Oh yeah,
It's
I know. It's like 15 gallons to get down the quarter mile down,
I'm saying.
or 30 gallons, whatever.
on full throttle. Yeah, it's
On
like
full
3
throttle.
gallons a second or something,
So
which is insane.
I don't think he realizes how loud they are.
No.
So him not wearing PPE for the first time is going to be fun.
Yeah.
And then when they freaking step on it and it sucks the oxygen out of the area and puts that burning sensation into your eyes.
Yes.
That's crazy.
It is, dude.
So I can't wait to see.
It's like changing like the literal dimension we're living in.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It changes the atmosphere.
It changes the atmosphere, right? You're like literally like folding time. It's nuts, dude. I love Top Fuel. I love jet cars, like all that shit. Like I think it's dope.
Yeah.
But Top Fuel is on another level.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. We'll do that, and then we'll have that whole Monday to go pick up our badges and
and get all the perks.
And do.
There's a ton of perks to being on the media side.
That's right.
And we really didn't take advantage of half of them.
Right.
So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff I was like heard about that we could have done. I mean, we could have gotten to the show early every day. I think an hour.
Yep.
It's like shit. That'd be cool just to not have people around.
Yeah, and I'm gonna take 2 microphones. I'll take the whole setup down for the room.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take 2 microphones in the small setup so we can set up in the media room and actually have quick conversations. Hey, what'd you see? How'd you like it? Type thing.
That'd be sick.
And maybe even pull in some other car people and just have a quick 15, 20-minute conversation.
Yeah, and it's just, one stop away on the light rail. So.
Yeah.
Or the monorail. Sick, dude.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it was a good learning experience.
I agree. I learned a lot. I really did. I just, there's things about it I want to check out next year, and there's things that I just know I'm not going to go worry about, like the tire haul.
We'll divide and conquer.
I don't give a shit about tires that much.
Yeah.
I mean, I like them, but I'm not like going to go look through every single tire manufacturer. And that's a big haul, dude.
Right. I will probably go through that haul again.
Okay.
But I will pick who I'm going to go talk to.
Oh, yeah.
I might go pick.
Like there wasn't many road ready tires there. Like, you know what I mean? There was quite a few in that back corner, but like throughout the whole thing, it was mostly off road and like SUV tires.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is cool because I know that's what most people are driving.
Sure.
Or that's what a lot of people like really give a shit about.
There was a lot of track tires too.
There was a lot of track tires, but they were still spread out further than the off road, dude.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. It was like there was that whole like when you walked into the hall from the Toyo Tread Pass and you went to the right, there was a lot of track stuff down there.
Yep.
And that was cool. I liked that whole back corner. But for the 3/4 or more of it, dude, I couldn't give a shit less.
Yeah, and the one I couldn't find and I really wanted to was Yokohama.
Yeah, I didn't even know if they had a booth. Did they?
I was told they did.
Well, I didn't see it.
Right.
And I could be mistaken, and I hope somebody corrects me on that, but I looked everywhere. And like I said, I could have been on my phone at that time.
Yeah.
But
could have been.
You think they'd have a pretty big booth.
Yeah, very easily could have been. The other one nobody could find was, God damn it, Hoosier. And I swear to God, I walked by him and talked to somebody about, briefly.
I saw Mickey Thompson.
Yeah,
I saw, what is it, like White Line. I saw like a couple other like, old school tire brands. But I don't think I saw Hoosier there. I think I saw people with like the lanyards and shit, so I knew they were there.
Yeah.
But it was weird because Mickey Thompson was in the Hot Rod Alley.
They had a big booth too.
And they had cars too.
Yeah.
They brought a lot of cars. And I feel like if you bring cars,
oh yeah,
they'll let you do some tire shit too.
Oh yeah.
As long as you have cars. But most of these people aren't bringing built cars.
Right, yeah.
That's a lot of stuff to bring.
Oh yeah. Well, a lot of the companies in the tire hall were Chinese.
Oh yeah. Or Japanese or Korean or Thai. There was a ton of
There was a bunch of Thai.
Yeah.
Yep. I think there was
cool.
a Vietnamese tire place.
Vietnamese too, yeah. There was a pretty much Southeast Asia in general. I'd say a good 65% of it.
Yeah. And here's the problem I have with that, right? Again, I think you were onto something when you said the buyers. Mm-hmm. It'd be a great haul for buyers.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, I'm not a buyer.
I know, but we're there for media, so our opinion's pretty much null and void.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Well, I think
it's for the people in the industry, and most
Yeah.
of these people are working, and you know, you could always tell by somebody's tag on their shirt. Buyer, acquirer, what was it? Seller. You know, very few of us were wearing media or guest passes.
Yeah.
Very few.
yeah.
So
So
it's like, of course
I did.
we're gonna
notice-
feel like that, but I feel like a buyer who owns like an online new retailer
Yeah.
is gonna be like, yeah, I need to go talk to all these people
Right.
about tires.
Now, I would have liked to have talked to a couple of them just to like hear how they're trying to break into the U.S. market.
Oh, I feel
know.
like 90% of them were alone all day,
Yeah, 100%.
just sitting there like,
But on the same
Deer in the
token,
headlights.
when I walked by and I had the media pass on, there were a couple of those people that shied away from me.
I know. I saw that too. I noticed that as well.
And I tried to engage with a couple. And I don't know if it was language barrier or what.
There was a lot of language barrier in there
Yeah, I feel like they were terrified.
with the
of
tool
this.
companies too.
Yeah, I did
There's a
notice that in
couple
the
tool companies, like all the I don't even know. I think they're like, you know, Eastern European tool guys.
Yep.
They couldn't barely speak English,
Yeah.
and I was asking about their stuff, and they'd be like, good product," and I'm like, "Tell me about it. You know, this is sick. I want to know about it." And
I can't.
they really couldn't.
Yeah.
And it's fine, but I was just like, "That's interesting.
Yeah.
Are you the person that speaks like best English, and they sent you here to Las Vegas?"
Right.
It was interesting.
I wonder. They have a new technology for it's headphones with the microphone on it, where
Translates.
like I put a set on, you put a set on, you're talking in whatever language. I think there's like 900 different languages that it does, or 150 it does, right? And I could talk in English and it translates perfectly into whatever language.
Yeah, I agree.
Vice versa.
Yeah, that would be a cool thing for them to do. I mean, you know, there's this guy, but then on the other hand, you meet guys. I met this guy from Kazakhstan in the tool hall, and they had a couple great products. He worked for Knipex, and he like designed like 3 or 4 of their new products, and I was like, he was perfectly speaking English.
Yeah.
You know, he was probably about my age, maybe younger, whatever. But still, it's like, it was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So it's just weird to see like the disconnect
Yeah.
of the language there. And I heard a lot of people speaking in Spanish too.
Yeah.
A ton of people.
Well, and I kind of get that. Though.
I get it too. No, 100%. It's the second most popular language in this country. So it's
Yeah.
like, I expected to hear a lot of different languages,
Yeah.
but Spanish was like overwhelmingly happening around me,
Oh yeah. Yeah. 100%.
which was great, but it was just interesting.
It's interesting. Yeah.
It is, because you'll see people like laughing and joking and shit in it. It's not just like direct stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's cool. It's a worldly event. Let me put it that
100%.
way.
Yeah.
You're gonna meet people from 100 different countries there,
Oh yeah, for sure.
and that's also pretty cool too.
What was the coolest thing you saw at the show?
Man, that's tough.
I think Rob kind of hit this one.
I'm sure he did. Me and Rob had varying opinions though, and
Yeah, oh, yeah.
but we both agreed on a bunch of cars.
So one
I
thing
will say, let me just scram through my pictures here.
one thing that all of us noticed, like when we were talking. So when you go to a car show, you notice like 2 or 3 cars out of a couple hundred that you're like, dude, these are showstoppers,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah, and I'm really hesitant to say this because, as everybody knows that's heard this podcast before, I hate Volkswagen.
Yep.
I think it's crap. I think they're hard to work on. I think they're over-engineered, and I think they're just lackluster.
Yeah.
But there was that Golf 2 at Wagner Tuning booth in the Hot Rod Alley that was absolutely shocking.
Oh, you're talking
It was
about
the gray one, wide body, mid-engine
Yeah.
VR6. And the attention to detail on that build was ungodly. I mean, the turbo inlet was a gas mask crafted from 24 karat gold with like diamonds on it.
Damn.
I mean, like, and I'm
think
not
I-
really
I
into
don't think I saw
flashy
that
shit,
one.
but like, it didn't have a ton of flashy shit on it. It was mostly like performance.
Yeah.
But the things that did have flash on it were insane. And how wide it was, and the cage in it, and like the wheel setup and the bodywork was just like, wow.
Nice.
It was impressive to say the least. And like I said, I'm not a Volkswagen guy whatsoever, but I could appreciate the amount of work that went into it. There was a couple other cars. There was, let me see here. There was a yellow Lancia Delta Integrale,
Oh, nice.
and I can't even remember what booth he was at, but it was a Rotoform booth, I think. And it was
the
so well
wheel
done.
manufacturer.
Yeah, it was so well done. And it wasn't anything too flashy. It looked to be about stock height. But when you looked in the car, it had a custom interior, custom dash. The suspension was cantilever in the rear. And we're talking about a four-door hatchback, all-wheel. It's a legendary car, and the bodywork had so many trick things done to it that were not stock that I'm very familiar with that car, so I was hip to it. I looked at him like, that is trick. Like, that's not stock. Like, they molded the wide body in like well past halfway into the rear door, and it was all metal.
Right.
And that's not how they looked stock. And it had to be at least 2 or 3 inches wider than stock. But it looked stock. You know what I mean? And I was just like, man, somebody put some serious effort into this one. And that's what's always cool.
Right.
If you're hip to that type of car, you'll see a car there and you're like, that is not stock. Like, that's not how they looked. So that was a cool one.
Yeah. Oh, that was what I was saying. So, you go to a car show, 3 cars are like, holy shit, these are the creme de la crop. Mm-hmm. Creme de la creme, whatever. At this show, every car that was there was that show winning car.
I mean, there was a couple cheesy cars.
Okay.
There's a couple cheesy trucks, like just
Yeah.
stuff that's like not my cup of tea, but still pretty well built. I didn't see any of the like SEMA fail stuff that everybody talks about.
Yep.
I didn't really notice any of that. Even on the Brodozers, I was looking for it.
Yeah.
I really didn't see much. There was that whole thing about the Miata with the Lambo V10 twin turbo setup and that
Right.
got called out. He got ran out of there. I didn't look too close to that thing. I don't really give a shit.
Right.
But as far as I know, that was about the only like fail there. But in the Toyo Tread Pass, a few cars that stood out to me. One of the most impressive ones was the 993 Porsche Turbo Carrera. It had a full-on wide body kit, custom molded, beautiful custom wheels. I think 7K made the wheels, and I know that guy who started that company in Colorado. And it was blue. It was like that, like not dark blue, but like what do they call it? Royal blue.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And that car was incredibly well done. It had a beautiful like buttercream interior with the blue. I mean, I'm a sucker for that. And then there was that RA Celica coupe that had a V12 in it from a Toyota Century with individual throttle bodies. And that car was also insane. And the owner was there, somebody that represented the car. And there's a lot of cars out there that aren't running or never have. Mm-hmm. And I asked him, and he's like, oh, yeah, we drove it in here. This thing drives.
Damn.
And I'm like,
Nice.
it was sweet. It was black. I love black cars. I love white cars. There was just some really interesting cars there, There was that Cobra out in the Toyo Tread Pass that had the RB26 Skyline GTR motor and the all-wheel drive setup, which I found fascinating.
That's freaking cool.
It wasn't just the motor.
Right.
He had the whole drivetrain in it.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, that is original.
Yeah.
Like, not a lot of people doing that.
No.
And he had the sequential transmission in it, and it was right-hand drive. I'm like, man, you really,
Damn.
you carried the cross on that one. There was that V12 twin turbo Z4 out there. That was like a full-on cup car, but it had plates on it, or it was registered.
Right.
And I'm like, how in the hell would you drive this on the street? I would.
Right.
But like most people, that's not a street car.
No. I mean, I would do it.
And he had a Mercedes badge on it because it had a Mercedes V12 in it, which I thought was funny. But it didn't look cheesy, But I knew it was a Beamer. I'm like, that's not a Mercedes. Let's go look at that. Beautiful car.
Huh.
Just some really cool stuff, man. I mean, there was that company making the Broncos, the brand new Broncos.
Oh, yeah. Not Broncos. Blazers.
No, it was Broncos.
Broncos?
Oh, yeah. Brand new.
Oh, you're talking like the 70s,
Yeah.
60s, 70s
They
retro.
were recreating
Okay,
them.
yeah.
And they had like modern interiors and
Yes.
like all the amenities
Yeah.
and like backup cameras.
They're like
and
$150,000.
lane sensing. Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're freaking ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
But they made a truck. They made a 2-door truck. They made a 4-door. They made a 4-door truck. Like they really went, and they had them all there. And I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool. I really like that body style.
Me too.
And to take that body style and put an interior in it that's more modern and comfortable, a suspension that's more modern and comfortable, something that actually has a little bit of power.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. I mean,
that to
they
me
had
is
like
epic.
the EcoBoost in one. They had the Raptor V8 in a couple. It was like, they pretty much put whatever you want in the damn
Yeah.
thing. There was another thing I
Coyote
noticed.
motor.
Yeah, there was like, it was just shocking to see the amount of options on their list of motors and bodies, and like it was just crazy.
Yeah.
So the one thing I did like about the overland or off-road haul, West Haul that I spent some time in, was there's that new SUV. I think it's based out of Europe. I saw like 4 or 5 of them. The Grenadiers.
They sell those here.
Yeah, they do now. Yeah, they
down-
just came out.
Not Salem.
The Ineos Grenadier. And I saw one over there in the Overland Hall, and I cannot remember whose booth it was at, but this thing was frickin' gorgeous. It was the cream color, and it's a stock color, and it was jacked up. It had like saddle pods on it, and the wheel setup was like a 3-piece Japanese wheel, and I was taken aback by that. There's like the wheel choice was cool. It was like a 17 or 18, huge tires.
Damn.
But the whole look of this truck was just unreal to me. Like I've never seen a truck look like this. It was a perfect blend of like all styles. Like it had like valances too.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost to make it look lower, but it was lifted.
Damn.
It was cool, dude.
Huh.
And so there was a lot of stuff like that I was like, oh, that's nice.
Is that the one that looks very similar to
the
like
Defender.
a Defender 90?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like those.
Oh, I love them.
I looked the price up on those.
They're not terrible base.
I shit a little when I looked them up.
Did you?
Yeah, they were low 6 figures.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think
base
it's
model.
just at 6 figures, yeah.
And then if you get it the way you want it set up,
And then we don't even get the cool ones in the U.S.
yeah,
We don't get the 2-doors here.
I think if you get them the way you want them set up, they're like $130.
Oh, there's for sure. You can get them outfitted like to the 9s, like the truck one,
Yeah,
like the 4-door truck one. Yeah, those are like 140 bands
right.
with like,
But I wonder what they're going to be used.
we won't know here. I mean, they've been in Europe and stuff for years, or a couple of years, I think.
I have a
2 years.
feeling. I have a feeling some dipshit will buy one,
Oh, they're sick, dude. I saw one downtown today in Portland.
and he'll go, "Well, that was fun. It's time to get rid of it."
Yeah.
and he'll sell it for like 80.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
I mean, I just really wish, you know, we had all the models here in the U.S. We just don't get them. But they look cool. And like I said, jacked up with, you know, ground effects, essentially. It was very subtle, but like just like the whole look of it molded into like the over fenders. I was like, dude, that is a nice looking truck.
Yeah.
It was cool. A lot of stuff to see.
Oh, yeah.
It's overwhelming. And it's like, I don't want to have my phone out all day, so half the stuff I saw, I didn't even take a picture of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Next year, I don't know if my phone will be in my hand the whole time, but I am contemplating bringing a decent camera down.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Something like, you know, you can get good video and pictures with.
Definitely.
We probably want to bring one or two more people, too, just to spread out a little bit more. I know.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, you don't always want to stick together the whole time because a lot of us have different, like I said, you know, you want to see the West Hall. I want to see the Hot Rod Alley. I want to, like, really dissect it. I want to see the center. I like the new product area. That was cool. Definitely going to spend a lot more time there next year. And then, you know, just talking to people.
Yeah, and
Talk to so many people.
The other part of that was, like, I had fun hanging out with Rob one day, and I had fun hanging out with you part of a day, and I had fun hanging out with Grant part of a day. But, like, going and doing some of that stuff on your own,
it's dope.
You don't have to wait for somebody. They don't have to wait for you.
You don't have to constantly search for each other.
There's no expectation, you know.
Yeah, and then I find, like, you know, this is like a modern day problem, but I feel like if you're waiting for somebody to finish a conversation, you're on your phone more.
Yeah.
And you, like, forget about shit more.
Yeah.
You're not, like, aware.
So, you know, I did that, but when I was on the phone, while somebody else was over talking to somebody else, I'd sneak off to a quieter corner.
Yeah.
Pull the phone out and take a video.
Yeah.
Like,
that's cool.
You know, just do a quick little, here's a quick little update. I didn't really put much down for after the guest.
Okay.
But, I don't know. Do you have anything else?
I mean, as far as automotive things I've seen this week or anything, I joined this page on Facebook called Hazard.
Ooh.
And it's basically just nuts car builds that guys have done. And I highly recommend all our listeners to check it out. And it's HAZZARD if they're on Facebook. There is just insane cars on there. Like race cars, show cars that are all like, you know, normal guys that have built them. They're very cool project cars, but generally on another level.
So are these it's like a group, so it's a bunch of different people and stuff like that?
It's people from all over the world.
Sounds like potential guests.
Oh, they're any one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, dude, there was this, you know, in Europe, there was this car, the Smart, that brand Smart. They built a Roadster. It was a cool looking car. I remember seeing them in Europe when I was visiting them 14 years ago or something, and they looked cool, but they were just a pretty basic little rear-wheel drive coupe. And this guy built this custom chassis and put a Hayabusa motor in the rear.
Oh, nice.
And put the body on top of it, and it's just nuts.
Yeah.
And made it wide. You know, just it's just a fascinating group that I went down this rabbit hole. I spent like 3 hours looking at all these cars. I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, I saw one of those Mini Cooper builds. Mini Cooper builds with, it was all-wheel drive.
Mm-hmm.
The dude put 2 Yamaha R1s in. One for the front, one for the back.
That's sick.
Right?
I can't imagine a twin-engine car.
I don't know how he synced up the speed of the tires well enough that car, like, could move, let alone put down some of the times he did on an autocross type track.
Wow. So he's racing it.
Yes.
That's nuts.
Right? And that's a leader bike.
Oh, yeah, it's a fast bike.
Yeah, so
and one tiny car.
1 liter in the front, 1 liter in the back.
That's sick.
Oof.
Yeah, I also found this page on Facebook, Shed Built Cars.
Okay.
And they're like literally like coach built cars that people are doing, like making, and some of them are like 3D printing them. Some of them are making them out of carbon. Some of them are, you know, hit out of steel. Right?
Yeah.
They're making like a wood frame and then putting steel over it and matching their shape. It's like coach building.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But
I've seen that.
there's I went down a rabbit hole there too. There's like hundreds of cars on there that were gorgeous. People are making replicas of Ferraris, and like just the amount of skilled people out there that are making cars in their garages is just unreal.
I would say probably the coolest thing I saw this week, automotive related, was a guy shaping metal. Mm-hmm. And by shaping metal, he was doing that, you know, he had some sort of a mold.
Mm-hmm. Like a wood mold?
Yeah, I think it was wood.
Yeah.
And he was putting a piece of sheet metal on top of this thing and using a set of mallets and this freaking flat wood slapper thing. And he would heat up the metal, slap it into shape. And then at the end, like, he picked this thing up and it looked like a freaking car hood.
I'm saying, dude, that's what I mean. Like, it's shocking how many people are learning this stuff and doing it. And, you know, a lot of these people have been doing it for years, not to say they learned it. But I have seen posts of cars that people have built in the last few years that they learned in the last 6 years how to do.
Yeah.
Full-on cars.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I think one of the other things that's hit my feed a lot recently is old, like 70s, 80s Mercedes and European, so Volvos, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That have been built. And one of them is, you know, the old Mercedes diesel, you know,
big sedans.
The big emblem sedan.
Oh, yeah. Those are sweet.
So this guy had built one. I think he put some LS motor in it. I don't know which one. But LS motor and for the reliability. And then totally decked out the interior to be like original-ish looking, but like a limo.
Right.
Like, that's
luxury.
the car you got in if you were the millionaire or billionaire of the time.
That's sick. Yeah, I mean, it's overwhelming, you know, how many cool cars are out there being built all the time now.
Yeah. I honestly, I think one of those would be on my list of cars that I'd love to own.
Yeah, I like old Benzes. I mean, I like old Beamers. You know, I like all the old Euro stuff. I love old Volvos. I mean, Vinny's Volvo is incredible.
Yeah.
It's a sick car. And I helped him with that one, and it was like, man, that made me love those cars. I feel like it would probably happen if I worked on any old car.
Oh, yeah.
I just appreciate the old stuff better.
Oh, yeah. And they had room to actually get in there and work on stuff.
And no crappy electronics like, you know, and immobilizers and shit.
Yeah, you know, there are some electronics things that, like, are pretty epic, pretty cool, right?
Yeah, sure.
So, like, my wife's car, it has the magnetic valved shocks. Then those things adjust, like...
on the fly, instantly.
Oh, yeah. You know, instantly. And it's like, you know, 500 times a second or something stupid, right?
That is cool. No, I'm not saying that all, like, stuff's crazy, but, like, my homie needs me to replace the ECU on his Kia Soul. And it's like...
Mega Pack? Oh, Mega Squirt?
I wish. No, it's
Right?
just he wants a stock one, and I'm looking online like, dude, you have to do so much shit to get the keys to work and shit.
Really?
Yeah.
That's stupid.
On a throwaway car.
Don't do it.
I know. I mean, he's going to do it, but it's like, and I'll help him with it, but it's like, dude. Like, I remember, you know, on my old 80s and 90s Toyotas, it's like, that wasn't a thing.
Did it
Popped
die?
a new one in. Yeah, it got water on it somehow.
Oh, man.
It had a leak through something and soaked it and fried it.
Because,
You
I
know,
mean, that's
stuff
going
like
to
that.
cause... Those keys are chipped, right?
Yeah, exactly. You have to set them up. Oh. And it's like on my car, which had them when I had the stock ECU. there was a process you could do to like learn the keys to any ECU that was in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like pretty simple. You don't even need a compute. You didn't need shit.
Right.
You just put it in, hit the gas pedal 3 times, hit the window down button, and then it would like do a sequence, and you could teach it. It was cool.
Yeah.
On this shit, no way, dude. You need one of those tablets. You need, one of those tools that like syncs it up. You got to like lock in, and it's nuts.
Yeah. And if you do it wrong, it bricks it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Okay,
just
go
won't
buy
work.
another one.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it was great talking to Brent.
Yeah. He was a
This
good
cool
guest.
episode, dude.
I think he'll be back. I don't know when for sure, but I think he'll be back, and he'd be a good one to have come in.
I agree. That'd be great if we can get him in person. But yeah, anyways, thanks everybody for listening, and it's been another amazing episode with everybody. So check out our social media. We are on Facebook, Untitled Car Project. We are on Instagram,
Untitled Car Pros.
Untitled Car.
Oh, no.
No,
Instagram is Untitled Car Project.
Untitled Car Project, and Discord.
I think that's the same.
Okay, that's the same. And
Twitter,
your X, yeah, we're on there too. Reach out to us, give us some feedback, and we'll see you next week.
All right, fellas. Have a good one.